Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It is time for match number 1. As you see, it's FNATIC versus Cyclops. And like I said before we entered into this first game, Cyclops, should they win with all 3 points, they guarantee themselves #1 position, and that'll be it for Sandbox. They will be stuck in our second take. Now, that'll be our match today for later on, our last game of today, but for it to matter, it has to come down to FNATIC doing damage to Cyclops in this matchup. Let's have a chat with these two. Let's get Cyclops out of the way, Jack. What have they been showing up with?
They've been showing up with absolutely everything, Demo. You think one side of the scale, you think...
Demo?
I was thinking about Cyclops, I was thinking about Demo.
I'm
and how
sorry.
they were going to win it 6 Invitational. Milosh. They've been showing up with absolutely everything, Milosh. I'll start this again. One side of the scale, you've got fast-paced, crazy Cyclops. Other side of the scale, you've got very default European-style Siege, very considered Siege. And they've got everything in between. They've got absolutely everything. And here's my point about Demo. This is why Demo believes that they're going to win the 6 Invitational.
Thank you very much, Des. FNATIC on the other side, and what can they bring today?
Yes, well, what I really liked about FNATIC last week was they immediately adapted towards the Doc and Rook meta as well. You've seen them revive themselves, for example, with those nades coming in after. Something that they have been struggling with, though, is their attacks and keeping up good and consistent attacks. They figured out something, and then they used the same exact attacks against another team, and then, of course, that team roots into how you play against FNATIC, and that has been a big struggle for them. Not a lot of plans coming in with that either. We have Mag on a lot of plans in that case, but in that game where the attacks were red against a lot better, it was more difficult for them to plant.
Our match then, what map will it be on? Let's ask the question and have it hopefully answered on the screen for you. Be looking down. My TV isn't on today. Oregon. There it is. That'll be our decider as FNATIC ban out Clubhouse. They start off on the attacking side with Cyclops on defense. Jack?
I worry for FNATIC. Now, they've got a lot to prove because obviously it's big expectations. I won't go into the expectations of the fans and the org, but the attacks in particular, because they've looked very up and down with the attacks, and that first half for me is going to be massively determining whether they have a successful game against Cyclops or not. Because if they're on it on attacks, they can be quite good. But more often than not, they're not on it attacks. So you're worrying if it's a 2-4 half on the attack, you're really worrying for FNATIC.
Yes, and we've seen that Cyclops can be kind of shaky with their attacks as well. If you look over the past 4 months, this is actually the map with their best attacking rate. So that's a really good promise coming in for Cyclops. I've had it as a potential ban for them. They did win it against Talon 7-4 in the first Playday, and FNATIC haven't played it yet at this stage, at least. However, they have a 5-win streak on it going on for them for the past 4 months.
All right, then, friends, thank you very much. That's our setup, and it was pretty quick here on our pre-desk just because our game is ready. I had a slight delay, so thank you very much for kind of going through things with us. Cyclops versus FNATIC coming at you live with Happen. Enjoy.
I have returned, and I cannot see because the big screen's off.
Big screen,
but I believe we're on.
We're also on the
We're also on the small screens here, but then
Yeah.
I would have to look down like this, and that kind of gives it away that we're looking down. Either way,
Hey.
there's going to be more at stake here than just first seed.
Whoa.
No.
Are you about to give some numbers?
I'm about to give some numbers because if we follow the same, well, logic as we did last stage, if Cyclops pick up a 3-pointer here, or even 2 and Sandbox leave some points behind, they will be first seed of APAC because they will be having more points they can be caught up on by Direwolves currently in APAC South.
Mamma mia.
So there is a bit more at stake. We all know that seeding does come into place every now and then. So they more than definitely would like to lock this off as first.
Well, I guess we'll see if they can. You would have expectations, but for everything that we can bring into this, there's always the conversations of what differences are we going to get from Cyclops. When you've found yourself at the end of a race and you're preparing for the next, you don't have a long amount of time between this and the major itself. You've got to sort of get yourself running. You obviously won't know who you're in a group against. You'll know a couple of teams that are qualified and a couple that have been able to get themselves routed through into a situation of, okay, they've made it. They're across the line.
Sorry.
What's already happening?
Gator typed in GL Mag Fun, and then I looked at Mag, and he looked very focused as he was typing out "Good luck, Gator for fun." Right? So
Good luck, Mag Fun. Good luck, Gator Fun.
he was very, very focused on getting that name right. Sorry, I was distracted by that.
No, understandable. I was eventually as well, I guess, is fair to say. I
That's my fault.
too was distracted from it and pulled away.
But talking about the bans, the Ying to be removed together with the Valkyrie as well. We're going to be having a bit of a lack of information on the defense as the Valkyrie gets banned. This is quite often that operator gets banned. Now onto a Mygon as well. Only really the ADSs you need to deal with if you want to be playing this grenade heavy. Now, we actually have been seeing, compared to last stage, less grenades being used over the course of the last couple of weeks, and that's probably due to, of course, the Finka nerf that we've seen.
Yeah.
The
I learned something interesting.
Yes. What have you learned?
I hate to interrupt you, but I did
go
learn
ahead.
something interesting. We had the joy of interviewing our observers.
Yes.
This is an interview that will come out, I think, on the 4th.
I think it's normally Friday.
Normally, no. So Friday, one of the podcast things comes out.
Oh, yeah, and then the Friday after.
And then this is me announcing an announcement for a thing. And then on the 4th, the podcast comes out. We got to interview the observers, and one of the questions that Fresh asked, he said, how do you know about grenades? How do you catch so many grenades?
Yeah.
You can see it in the overlay.
Yeah, you can
When
see
they
if they're
grenade.
holding it.
I didn't know
You didn't know
that.
that. It's like
No.
the grenade icon gets a little line under it.
Yeah. I've never known this. I'm going to try.
Save for C4s when they're being pulled in pocket.
Those at home, watch along with me. This is how the observers are so quick about this. I'm sorry to give the secrets, but they also give that and much more on the podcast, so prepare yourself. Get your ears and ready, or your eyes if you want to watch it, because it's also on YouTube and filmed.
Okay, so basically, right, you see these little lines under the weapons right now?
I do.
Wherever the line is what they have in pocket.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Or in hands.
Well, it's not crazy. It's well-designed UI, actually. And then it goes on to the left if we're watching the player.
Yeah.
Society.
Like-
Look at that. Now they're on a drone. You just it's just revolutionized the game. All right, there's a fight that's happening around T3. The start of the break and the pressure, they're forcing them slowly further back, but it's Cyclops. They're not going to be forced too far without deciding to try and take several fights on the way out the door.
For sure. They want to take that fight everywhere they can go. As Repel comes in from Tier 3, that means that Anaton might receive himself in a bit of a contest soon if he decides to continue pushing up these staircases every now and then. For now, it doesn't seem to be too keen on it, but definitely just heard that breaching charge go off. It's going to be Yoko Drone spotting out a player right behind the van.
Sees one, but also got blocked a little bit by the satellite. Yeah, just
trying to get a ping out.
sees.
I feel like.
Yeah.
Can he ping it? Yes, there we go. It took him a while, but he got it now.
He wants to go with the back of that black ray. Is he going to throw himself out here at the shower corridor window? He's looking for the chance to lean in on a fight. He's maybe going to try and find it, but otherwise FNATIC, they're still steady on in this approach. They're sort of getting a clarity of space, but it doesn't feel too clear. Obviously, 2 minutes have passed, and you got to look at what FNATIC have, which isn't really a huge amount. There's still Cyclops presence in shower, which they're trying to find a fight here. There's not been an active clear. The first goes against them. Chibisu taken off the board. Ramu very quickly does get some of that shower's lock in. There's a couple of hot pings and reveals coming around the corner of Gatorada ready to strike, but Ayagator stepping in on stage almost misses Iana. Pulls back round at the last second, and it doesn't really feel like the site is in the basement.
Did allow the hatch to be opened up. Anaton will find Mag as well. Gatorada comes around now on that kitchen, and as you mentioned, doesn't feel like it's the basement at all, because this is the Cyclops playstyle. They'll bring that fight to anywhere but the site itself. And as Choppy just decides to go for a quick hop in, realizing how many were off site, meets the last player that was actually watching him as he shuts him down. So that's the first round for Cyclops on the defense. Up to round 2. Heading to meeting hall and kitchen, it seems like. No, they're swapping it up. We're going to the top floor.
Shake it up.
They shake it up. Back towards the default. And you see Doc, you see Rook. Never mind. I really need to learn to not say anything until it's locked in with Cyclops, because they change everything all the time.
Things be a changing.
Oh.
What?
Didn't make the rotation, so to reinforce it off.
I mean, mistakes happen. And then you fix the mistakes. They've got themselves an extension here. It's still weird, that first round. It's still weird.
I mean, it is weird, but at the same time, you're playing against Cyclops.
Yeah, but it never really felt like the siege started. I don't know how to sort of phrase this in a way that is there was so much that was sort of going on. It was almost like two different teams playing two different games.
Yeah, FNATIC was really trying to open up to the side itself.
And I'm not sure if Cyclops, they were just happy to sit and wait. It was like a surprise party.
BlackRay's going to wait for someone to upside down repel on that window. Gatorado instantly going aggressive after the window gets opened up. Sees a grenade being tossed in, so knows there's a player out there now. It's the perfect moment to fall back. So drone there in the showers will not be able to catch it, but at least they are aware of Gatorado that has fallen back. So should be easy to clear out the small tower side of the map right now, and that's exactly what they'll go for. Ramu opening up from above with that skeleton key. Of course, there's plenty of ammunition to at least get a bit of a battle control around, because they don't want to be caught in the back again, so they need to make sure that they clear out the map in synchrony.
Getting a bit of attention now, paid underneath the site itself. They're pushing as a unit. They're not quite getting the full lockdown and idea of maybe where these loose Cyclops players can be. This is, for my money, a little bit more better, a little bit more in tune with the pace that you've got to apply. They cannot really just sort of blindside themselves directly towards a position above the site, regardless of how free they think it is, because Cyclops will never make it free. There's always a cost from their gun and their angle to play. Potentially with the grenades underneath, you can see there's a bit of drone work going around to the player onto the side of the stage to make sure that the Nook is safe to put the pressure on Choppy. Screaming the way up white stairs, almost gets the wing of the player as the smoke's able to pop the canister off. But this, again, I much prefer it from FNATIC.
Yeah, playing it from below, the grenade about to be tossed in. Anderton just moves out, though. It's not going to be taking any damage, and that's the last one that Lily carried. Can now continue to just playing the gun game here, moving up the white stairs, see if he can isolate one of these players. As Chibisu still has a grenade to be tossed in, so they need to try and isolate one of those players, so they can. But for now, we see a very heavy side on the bottom floor, and also two players up on the balcony trying to dislocate SuZaC.
Well, now here comes the break, the pressure, the fight right round onto the site. They've slipped themselves round onto the opposite angle. They're going to rotate the buck round, maybe try and force some of the momentum onto APAC, but it's BlackRay. Takes the wide swing, takes the head off the player sitting at the top of white. The second steps in and almost suffers the same fate, but Lily's able to actually win it out. Just gets the scrap of the angle with all the damage already done to them. Ramu. He's rotating. The box can, as I said, see if he can try and put some pressure. But Anderton, once again, another Cyclops player tucked under a window, more than happy to sort of wait with bated breath and an open maw and jaw to see if they can bite down on the player. And there it is. Blinded, but still takes the kill. Gatorado finds Choppy, and with 20 seconds, one at the top of white. Mag just here, tucked outside the double window. They're sort of waiting for the chance to swing round. There's the pop, the reveal. The player's caught out instantly. With 10 seconds, I think it's very confident to say this is a second Cyclops round.
Yeah, it definitely is going to be. Anderton at least gives his life away, and they're still a bit aggressive out there, but they've got Gatorado with a pistol as well, hoping to lock out that final kill. The drop shot, but the time runs out, and that is going to be that second round. Again, under good control of Cyclops, they had that side in the lock and key, not really any effort from FNATIC to clear out those Kiba barriers, for example, which would have made it easy to lock out Chibisu. Or SuZaC, I have to say, sorry. SuZaC, who's been literally on 5 HP from the start of that round, from that one grenade, has been prone in the same spot ever since. Managed to even pick up kills. He's confident.
Confidence
he's feeling
is key.
It is in a game of Siege. Morale, confidence, often more important than your actual aim game in the end. You saw there as well with some of the swings. You just need to go for it. You just need to own it.
Well, owning swings is kind of Cyclops' MO. It's their middle name, their first name, their surname. It's all the names.
You're quite right at that. They like to take fights everywhere.
Confidence and guns, CAG.
Is that their punchline?
That's what it stands for. It's not.
Okay,
It's not Cyclops AG. It's confidence and guns.
No, it's not Cyclops Athlete Gaming. It's as you said, confidence and guns. Go quite well together in these hands.
Hey, we're on meeting.
Yeah, we are in that first floor now, as BlackRay, I believe, might have been spotted, at least an audio cue given away to the drones. Just going to see if he can hunt one of these attackers who's going to be slipping up a bit, maybe. Hoping to find a head as they walk by, and it's very difficult to see that window being opened up. They actually need to get a drone out there into T1, into the small tower, to find out whether or not BlackRay is playing here. This definitely should have been heard. I mean, there is a drone. They should be aware now, definitely, that he's out there. He's not falling back, though. He's looking to lean into the fight. after he's just taken out a drone, but he knows that it's slowly starting to circle around him there. So the longer he stays, the more difficult it will start to become, and the more utility gets tossed at him, the further back he falls to, well, hope to pick up a second point of Ingress.
Here's the devastation starting to find its way around, but it's something where Cyclops are going to lean in. They have a drone that just rolled to the feet. Did it get the read? Yeah. Yes, it did. Choppy swings around with the pre-fire. We saw it roll a little bit close, saw the player rotate. Do they know about the one at the top of... Yep, Armory Stairs. Yep, is the follow-up. There's the upside-down rappel that does a bit of damage. There's a bit of pressure coming through on the double window. And Anaton, well, the Doctor is in, and he can at least get himself back up to full. But can he find a new place to find a fight?
That's literally the thing with Doc nowadays. You could just heal yourself up after every single engagement. Yeah,
as
it
he
can
is
happen,
doing.
right? It's like, you get shot, no worries, back onto full HP I go. You can do that 3 times. You can even get yourself up from an injury all the way up to full HP. And on a Doc, that's quite a bit of HP people have to dick through if it's not a headshot.
Concussion ready.
How are they going to try and break the top hold here? They're starting to flood their way around towards Pit. There is the player that's just tucked onto the corner. They've otherwise dropped their way out of Dorms itself. And actually, no, they're going to hold on. Anaton gets the first fight into his favor. Choppy takes a lot of damage. The Doc is still pretty peachy, though. He's sort of pre-firing back in, and he finds the second.
And healing up again.
It's healing up again. Anaton has lived 3 lives and taken 2 of his own.
I mean, I'm just going to say Doc is probably one of the most selfish operators in the game right now. Like, after every single gunfight, you could just heal yourself back up again. It allows you to take all of them fresh and, you know, have yourself in the best possible spot you can be in. As the top floor slowly being taken under control right here, Lily spots out Gator right next to the, well, semi-broken barricade and at least brings it back so slightly up to a 3-on-3. With 35 seconds left on the clock, FNATIC, they need to get a move on. They need to try and get this this plan going, but as long as the attic is still under control of Anaton, there's not much they're going to be able to do from here. So as they open up that hatch, they might actually be helping him at the same time.
Anaton's still holding the long angle. They're flashing it out, but look at the timer. 18 seconds. The spray through the soft, and it's Anaton to win it out. Put the kit cold. It's above a hatch, but without them up there, it's just going to have to be a fight blind through. Suzu sees a bit of a backline here. They're able to take them out, leaving just Anaton by himself. 2 seconds, no kit, though. It's an Anaton round.
You know, and healed himself for about, like, 400, 500 HP in that round.
He was pretty healthy by the end.
And he came down to 10 HP in the end. That shows you the power of that stim pistol now, and that's why it is such a
Somewhere in the back, Fresh is going, this is why I play that.
Yeah, well,
he
did say he's a Doc main nowadays.
He's a Doc Lion main, yeah.
That's all he's doing. He's just sitting in spawn, droning, putting in the E1Ds, and then playing Doc afterwards to be like the entry fragger that cannot.
There's why. There's a sort of advert why the operator is one that found itself much more sort of prevalent. It has the buff. It has, as you said, all the health in the world, and then even more health.
He actually saw in the middle of that engagement he wanted to heal himself. It's like, you know, went into Ash, realized the down came through, but already pulled out the stim pistol. But got it in the end. And that allows you to, as I said, continue on taking these fights fresh, and that allows you to pick up 2 or 3 kills that way. So well done by Anaton. Again, playing on that Doc. He's not going to be swapping off. The Rook also showing up now.
Imagine if he'd accidentally healed the Ash.
That would have been funny. Just so you have a small gap to pull out the MP5 again to shoot him afterwards, because there is a bit of an animation that the revive takes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, that would have been funny.
That would be such BM.
And it would be such Cyclops.
Such Cyclops BM.
If there is a team that does it accidentally or on purpose, it will be Cyclops.
On purpose, it may be in the NAL. It's like down them. Oh, down them, pick them up, down them again. Anaton isn't going to get downed or picked up any more than they have been this round. The Doc is quickly off the board, and for the problem that they were on the previous round, it makes sense. Gatorada suffers a little bit next.
There's one thing the Doc does not live through, and that's going to be headshots, so perfect counter coming through. That is a Gemini replicator to be spotted out, and that means Black Ray basically will have to get out of there, or at least reposition to be in a bit of a fighting position, and does exactly that. Finds one, but they're already in on the top of White's, bottom of White, sorry. Ramu will find that refrag, and that allows him to now take control of that top floor quickly.
But you can see that Cyclops aren't gonna sit around. Gatorada's putting some pressure onto the side of split. Echo's the only one inside the site itself. They have a bit of control, a bit of an eyewitness, and this is a different approach from FNATIC. I sort of said the first round didn't really feel like two teams playing the same game as Siege. FNATIC has definitely changed that pace. It's been a lot more direct. They've been prepped and ready to try and catch against the game that Cyclops is playing. We've already had so much bloodshed so early, but it is because FNATIC is hitting heads with them. It's a much better approach in my books for how this can come together here.
Need to be isolating these players as Cyclops. That's always been a bit of a weakness here as Ayagator somehow wins that out and falls back down. It starts one, leads back into the fight. It's gifted a second kill. Choppy falls. And that's going to be bringing it back to a 2-on-3 in favor of Cyclops. So Gadarada still out inside of the garage. Has an opportunity to go for a flank here as soon as that hatch gets opened up from an angle they probably will not expect. As Mag is eyeing up, trying to see if there's an opportunity for him to get back into it. And now he's opened up the hatch for him, for his opponent here. He can use this against Mag.
I mean, it's such a rotten moment here. Gadarada, when's the timing? One slipped one way, the other's just tucked round, and in the classroom, oh no, they missed each other. Gadarada finds Mag. They were the one that won out that engagement, got the call. Thinks the other's down here, but they've actually pulled themselves back ground. Chibasu with the grenade. He's going to see if he can try and catch the loose player. 30 seconds. They're tucked. Well, they were tucked right under the hatch. They've pulled themselves a little bit further away. They've given the stretch. They know where the kit went down. 20 seconds. They've got to try and brute force their way through 3 different angles. Pre-firing and popping. Oh, there's the first. Suzy C's gone off the board. The grenade is just going to put itself into the little box pocket. But the other two have a different idea. 4 in a row for Cyclops.
Heard the pin being pulled out. They knew they had to go for it because otherwise it could have been a potential 1v1 with 5 seconds left. Both those players playing close. So, well done by Cyclops. And this is kind of the thing, right? Like FNATIC, they cleared out 2 of those roamers. They thought, okay, it's going to be quite clear now. Start working on opening up some of the hatches. And they slip up again. Gator being gifted 2 kills like that as he's falling back. Like, he shouldn't have been able to get that Buck. Buck should have been able to pick him up as he rotates past, but instead, he comes out and wins the gunfight twice. As you see right here, this is where he should have died. Leans back into it. Continues to run down, but then realizes he was being chased down by the Ash. And, you know, any sane player, I guess, would just continue running on. But if you have Cyclops behind your name, the thing you'll do is just lean back into it and make sure that you pick up that kill as well. To ensure yourself of the 0-4. So far, they have been in true control. And to mention again, it was said by Milosh on the desk. If they do manage to pick up the full 3 points here today, they are confirmed first seed for APAC North. Sandbox would not be able to catch up on them as they're currently 1 point below. But that also would mean that they will be guaranteed top spot for APAC as a whole. If we follow the same logic we did last time. So first seed, overall, APAC North, APAC South together. Boop, boop, boop. That's what they're working for here.
That makes sense.
If they get 2 points, however, an overtime victory, that becomes a bit different because they still would be first seed or third seed, depending on if Sandbox is going to be able to get a full 3-pointer. Because head-to-head is the first tiebreaker in APAC North.
The pace of the game is still peculiar, I think, even for a Cyclops game. There's moments where you realize that these teams sort of playing out a game of Siege. You've got, if you're FNATIC, a longer period of time between your next appearance in this sort of league. Cyclops, obviously, they have a major to attend. I don't know if they're secured for SI. I think they're just
Cyclops,
on the precipice.
I don't think they are. I think they need to have a pretty okay performance as Gadarada just takes it ahead of Ramu. Was going on a bit of a sneak with the Nuck, hope to at least find a bit of an entry, but not gifted that. As the phone calls go off, they hope to isolate Gadarada that way, and he's definitely about to be shot in the back, but I believe he just heard it. Heard the DMR fire right behind him. Impact's coming in from above. There's definitely some support coming down, and Chibisu will have to fall back.
And
otherwise
they rebuild it.
Yeah,
they pop it, they shoot it, they army it back together, and they make things a little bit more complicated. Gadarada does have a hatch to try and escape through. He's spraying through all the softs, though. He wants to play this out as long as possible for that reason. Choppy, and this is a frequency of this game, is Cyclops will take the first body and then get the follow-up player. They'll get the shot, they'll get the chaser, and then from that point, FNATIC, they find themselves kind of scrambling because they realize that these quick motions, these quick attempts at pulling a body back in is just not working in their favor at all. And it just keeps taking a little bit more energy out of their approach.
That's it with Cyclops, right? They just always lean in. They don't know what falling back is. It's just not in their vocabulary. They just continue pushing. They continue swinging. They continue taking the fight even if they are in a 1v5 situation. And you know what? They can even still win it at that point. It's only up to Chibisu now. Finds a down onto Black Ray. The kill eventually as well, but he's playing with that DMR inside the bedroom. He's going to be wall banged as well. There's 3 players in the same room. We'll get the injure, but not the kill eventually. Gets taken down by Susan C, and that is going to be 0-5 for Cyclops, who are looking to make this a quick one.
Confidence and guns.
Yeah.
Confidence and guns.
It's time for a rename officially.
It's been a hell of a half. And I think that's the thing is they've just always felt a little bit a pace ahead currently.
Yes.
Obviously, some of this is from the fact that it's FNATIC on the push, trying to force their way against Cyclops. They have to have the mentality of pushing against them, even if the force is one that feels immovable, even if it's a little bit First World War trench warfare, and you're throwing bodies and bodies and bodies to try and fix a problem. It's working in Cyclops' favor. It might have an entirely different face on the second half of it when they don't have that much pressure on them.
Yeah.
Or it might be a setback.
The thing is, FNATIC doesn't have anything to play for at this moment as well, right? But the top hat that they missed out last time.
Yeah.
Glory,
Magical
friendship. Cyclops still has that first seed they would like to attain.
5 seconds left before
Not that that ever changed their playing style. There's more to play for because they always play literally the same way, the Cyclops way, which is let's have fun in this game. Let's just take the fights. They do that so well. And it is so successful, and it is why we've seen big teams be afraid of them, because you don't know what to expect.
He's out of there.
Yeah.
Black Gray's not going to sit around and find out what happens, because I sort of said before, it felt like FNATIC was starting to learn ways to close this down. It's just they couldn't quite close it down. The catches on loose players were good. The chases were not.
Hamilton playing this in a very careful angle right here, using that table to his advantage as Mag finds Gadorada. That's the entry that FNATIC need, but they need more than that because the rest of the Cyclops players, they are not backing down. They're looking and intending to stay here in the showers and in the meeting room. As Choppy will find Anaton, that is going to be that dock removed. It was a difficult angle to take, and that leaves Black Ray in a very difficult position here.
Oh, they sprayed too high. The pings are lower now, though. They're down. The swing goes out. Suzu C gets the lock-in, gets the second. And Cyclops, as you said, don't have a word for retreat. They have several for aggression. Iagator finds Lily in the meantime. They're able to get a swing out the main door there, and Mag now has to try and pick up the pieces. There's pressure that's coming outside the building. They're outside the building. But Cyclops don't care. They think that you shouldn't be allowed inside the building or in their front garden.
What's Iagator doing? He's just prone behind some sandbags, waiting for the push to come in from that main door. And as you mentioned, like, normally a team, if they lose 2 players, they'll fall back. They'll play the side a bit more. But Cyclops, they just send everybody they have out. There's no need to
Cyclops
play the side.
they're playing for revenge.
There's no need to play the side if you can kill them all before they enter the building, right? I mean,
Play the building.
this is exactly what they've done back in SI against BDS and Empire, where we like love their gameplay that much. They're basically trying to reenact it against FNATIC here and finding a lot more success. Currently 5-0, looking to make this a 6-0 half. And Mag has the difficult task now of finding a spot to actually enter from, and then hoping that he can make it towards the site safely. Now, the top floor is currently uncontested, but there is going to be that bulletproof. That was manned, so they know exactly that one of these players is currently on that top floor. And that means these 2 hatches in attic, but also the kitchen, could be played soon. And as Ramu is joining, well, the verticality that he could bring definitely will start ringing every single alarm bell that is in the Cyclops front.
So they're going to see if they can try and maybe sneak a plant round just on the side of dining on the sort of swing onto kitchen. It means clearing the back of kitchen itself. Although, I say that, they're still progressing. I sort of called that as an idea because Max just stayed above the hatch to drop and try and get the plant. They've opened the back end. The flash is round but hits himself, unfortunately. The cover from the buck either side waiting for the swing. But the first player leans in, gets 2. Huge play there by Ramu to lock in the other end. There's a rotate round the back end. Mag finds the last, and FNATIC find their first just before the turn of the half, 5-1.
Great push there by Ramu, pushing through, finding the first, and somehow the second as well onto the kitchen door. That kill should not have been his. That should have been a Cyclops kill. Should have been a 2v1 after that, but they managed to turn that around. And FNATIC, they find their first. That's at least a little bit of breathing room that they have for the remainder of this match. An extra bit of slip-up on their defense. As they head to the laundry and supply room next, they will defend that as their very first. The basement. It's a bit of a lack of verticality on this side as well. There's only a couple of hatches they can really come from. Really one that often does get used to drop as the others are not really ideal. That is freezer and laundry, of course. Those do get used to toss utility through, or at least make the players that play inside that room feel safe. And now it is time to look at Cyclops. How will they play this? You look over at Anaton and you see the Yamaru. I can tell you already this is not going to be to cater to this side. Probably to see if he can take T3 under control.
Likely.
His drone was out there. Lily just took it out as well, so should provide a bit of safety. But the lost drone has never been a cause to not just swing themselves in there. And I wouldn't be surprised if Anaton just decides to yeet himself through that window either way.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the surprise would be how much coverage work he does before. The rotation around the bottom, there's the player that's watching. You can see the Jaeger's angled right up towards those windows, sort of hoping it, and, well, actually going to pull back. Maybe they thought the pace might come a little bit quicker from the other end of it, but not to be the case. FNATIC, this is what I sort of said. I wanted to see the second half of this game. Siege is always a game of two halves, and the big problem for them was trying to lean against the dangers. Here's the next, and oh, great read there. Ramu took the drone and recognized the player was just behind it. The first is theirs.
Heard the shuffling, heard the drone, knew he had to go a bit aggressive there and did that well, so that's going to be taking Galarada out, who was, if the swing didn't come through, almost definitely going to be able to lean into that with a positive gunfight going Cyclops' way. So a win for FNATIC as the hatches are slowly starting to be opened up. The big tower has fallen as well in favor of Cyclops, but that is all fine and okay because FNATIC, they have the man advantage and they are turtling down on that actual site, seeing how much time they can waste from Cyclops' hands.
Pressure round towards Ramu, who's pulled themselves back slightly deeper into freezer. The hatch is going to get open and they're going to actually respond with a swing deeper back out towards the stairs. I think they sort of recognized just how much pressure was coming, restructure themselves. Doesn't quite pop off the same way that they'd wanted to.
It's quite a disappointment there from the keep barrier, but live on as Ramu just goes aggressive either way. Finds Black Grey, takes him out. That's the freezer slightly under control again, but drones are still being tossed out as the hatches are being opened up by Cyclops as well, but the opportunities they have are starting to run out here.
Yeah, Ramu's doing his best to try and put the pressure on. They've got the ping on the player around Shaiko. Ayagata just drops into the site and gets one. Anaton and Ayagata get one apiece as well. And there's the drive back. Ramu doing his best for the swing. Anaton's the one that wins it out, and Mag is suddenly all that's left. From what was such a good start, Cyclops hit the drop on the hatch and kill everybody.
Yep. Cyclops things, this is what they do. They just run in, they gun, confidence and guns, as we mentioned before.
Confidence and guns.
You know, I was going to say, the opportunities are starting to run out here. All they could really do is drop E-Box and hope for the best.
They did.
And they did. It worked out. They managed to get it. A bit of a whiff, though, onto the pillar players. I think that... Was it Ramu that peeked out?
It was Ramu. And Ramu had two good swings earlier on. He's doing his best against insurmountable odds. He's the only player that's currently positive on the team, and he's responding to the game that it needs to be.
Yeah.
The fact that he sort of leant round and
three people.
Sniffed the drone, hit the fight next. One of those moments where everything's falling apart. You assume there's chaotic comms on the drop on the hatch. He sees two targets ahead of them, and indecisiveness kicks in. And that's just something that happens. Sometimes if you see two targets, you lay them right down the middle because...
That's exactly what happened. That's what I was going to say as well. It's like, who do you go for? Your brain just doesn't know how to prioritize, and it's like... Choose the middle.
Choose the middle.
Fortunately, no one there.
If there was three players...
That would have been successful, and then he would have been in trouble for the next gunfight. But we have some amazing 180 flicks coming out from the players of Cyclops there, though, because both of them turned around, instantly opened up on him, and managed to isolate him and neutralize him before he did too much damage. But what a push that was from Cyclops.
All right, well, Anderton, he's going much quicker. There's a man putting down a mute jammer. They've got nobody else there, though. That is all locked in. There is one player not too far away. The Gon 6 is not really best used for a cam at that point. They're seemingly putting a lot more quick pressure inside. They lost the opening 2 bodies, and they've disagreed with the mentality that got them there. So instead, here, the focus around the top, they're going to just pop the angle. They're making sure that they have maybe a sight line across the beam across, but also they can play against the mute jammer this way.
I think that's what it's meant for, to see if they can take out the mute jammer that way. But they need to get grenades or some form of explosive out there to get rid of it. They're definitely opening up, so they're eyeing up to go meeting. If they do manage to find meeting and take it under control, they could go vertically. Open it up with a MG, but Lily playing out there is going to be trying to spoil that party.
They've also got the procs. As the swing round on the door itself, they're ready and waiting, Lily, in a position here to try and get the first fight on anyone that tucks onto the corner, but the drone's rolling from the opposite side. There's a body on split. They're blinded out. Chibisu does find one. Anderton does find Lily, though. And the follow-up is the fight there against them. Gatorada gone. The slow creep round. Chibisu's been able to take his rotation. He's been able to hit white stairs, and now as they've hit themselves onto dorms, it's a fight here. Ramu's been able to creep himself around onto the back as the breach comes against him. He's looking for a player, but he's found himself a little bit alone and empty. There's the swing round as one more comes against them.
Where are you going to go, bro? He was suddenly in the top 4 there as he swings onto the pit. Deals a lot of damage to Choppy there. Minute left on the clock still. Plenty of time for Cyclops to try and lock this off. Just need to find out where these players have gone now. If no Choppy's fallen back, he was going through pits and could be anywhere now on that side. But Mag is going to be the issue. They do not know about his position, and they do need to find out where he is before they push in.
50 seconds. Blackgray digging himself around the top of white stairs. Choppy's holding off pit to the best of his ability here. They're just sort of slowly swinging out. It's an important fight. There's the scratch damage. There's Blackgray getting the last. They're looking for what they can only sort of do here as the last-ditch effort. Choppy holding on with the C4. He has it still in pocket, but there's so much pressure coming against him. He can't pre-fire every which way, and here it is the last way. 7-1. Cyclops, a terrifying day where at points they were playing Siege, at points they were playing a beat-em-up, but at all times were playing with a confidence that really took over.
Yeah, I think there's no two ways about this. Cyclops has been absolutely outshining FNATIC in every single way you could imagine right here. They've been able to just take the fights, lean back into it, even when they're in a 5v2 disadvantage. That's no problem. They just jump in and gun you all down. And this is what we love about Cyclops. This is why we said they will be dangerous at the major if this is how they manage to get away with things. And surely, like, you're playing against the best teams in the world at that moment in time, but they even must have a little bit of a fright for a team like this that just leans in time and time again.
Well, not much more for us to say about that. Thank you very much, Cyclops. I guess we're maybe back on track with the production time, and we'll take a quick break and then be back with the desk to break it down.